technologically we're advancing further than we ever have, but I think morally we're all, we're all going backwards, honestly. Like you look at the tension here in the US, look at the tension in Hong Kong.
Hey guys, welcome to Telugu Saga. Name me Vishal. Line lo no sai.
ఉన్నాను చిన్నోడా. How are you?
Hey, పెద్దోడా ఎలా ఉన్నావు?
Bona, bro. How's your July 4th?
Good, bro. Did a small barbecue. Chilled out with family. That's about it. నువ్వేం చేస్తావు?
నేనేదో sticks కాల్చా, bro.
అవునా?
Yeah, just had a regular day.
That's good, man.
And just
నేను హుషారుగా కనిపిస్తున్నావు.
అవుసారా? Yeah, ఫిల్లీకి వచ్చా, bro, weekend కి. That's it.
Nice, man. Nice. So I know we had a 2 to 3 week gap, and I'm feeling refreshed. I think it was a much needed break. So I'm glad everything went out well. So I want to get started with our podcast today. We have a special guest, but first, do you want to take the introduction there?
Yeah, definitely, bro. So today's podcast is a little bit of a new topic that we're going to talk about. And it's about the incident that happened between China and India recently, and how it's affecting our relationship with China. So to talk about this topic, like you said, an individual has come forward, and he's a really chill dude. He's really funny. He's currently from Dallas, attending UTD, double majoring in finance and economics. He hails from Siddipet, Telangana. I hope it's from Telangana. He moved here when he was between 4 or 5. So his name is Gaurav Pichara. Welcome, Gaurav.
Hi guys.
Video on this comma.
Okay, you're going.
Oh,
wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
How you been, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, honestly.
So thank you, Gaurav. And before we start, Gaurav, we want to put a disclaimer out there that this is a sensitive and controversial topic to many people.
Right.
This episode is just to talk about our views. There's no intention to speak bad or good about anyone, country, or entity.
Right.
So Gaurav, to get started, how did you first get interested in this topic? First, being in the US and stuff like that. What triggered you to get interest in this topic, the India and China, issue?
I think that was honestly it was a good question. I think it's mostly honestly social media, like legit social media. Facebook, Twitter, a few other areas. So I don't have Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, or any of the other things. I only have Facebook. And so I was like, I want to check some of the news that's going on in the world right now. So I go to bbcnews.net or .world, whatever. The India-China war. Okay, let's get started. I can get into this. So, and I started kind of doing my own analysis and all. And after that, kind of the rabbit hole we go.
That's awesome, girl. So you've done a research and you've been, you started learning from social media. So can you tell us what all your research, further research you did, tell us what actually happened?
Oh, okay, right. Honestly, okay. So some of these things are claimed by Indian media. So I wouldn't give them 100% 100% view. I would say take this with a grain of salt, really. But according to BBC, China and India got into a border a scuffle, honestly, and that's where it's really started out. It started really as a kind of just a border conflict because of where does the China border end and where does the India border end? And there's something called an LAC, line of actual control. So everyone knows the India-Pakistan LOC, right? Line of control. Everyone knows where it starts, where it ends. No one crosses, or very, very few people cross. There you go. It's that. It's historically, maybe once in 100 years or maybe once in 60 years they'll cross. But LAC is very disputed. It's disputed land basically. So like China thinks they end their land way farther than they actually do. India think they have the land way farther than they actually do. So there's something called there are 10 fingers basically. It's like a mount, like you know how the Himalayan mountains are, right? India claims that they go to finger 8. That's their border of till with China. China claims that the border with them in India is still finger 4. So finger 4 and finger 8, honestly. That's where the real dispute really is. And then between that land is supposedly a no man's land, disputed land, LAC, basically line of action control. That's where the lines they differ. I guess you can say that. That's where the dispute really started. It was because one team went a little farther in than they were allowed to, I guess, or than they were supposed to, and that's where the really dispute started. But I think this is a power play mostly by China because of the COVID situation. We're seeing a lot of different things and different things that they're doing to downplay COVID and to show that they have actual economic and I guess military strength. So I would say this is more of a. I mean, it's more of a power play. Honestly, we have. I think y'all heard about Colonel Subesh or Subhash, right?
Yeah.
Indian martyr. He got him and 20 other Jawans got slain. What happened was China and India both agreed that they would back away slowly. And when India started going back a little bit and China started going back, what happened was China didn't go back at all. So the colonel went to the Chinese land, and him about 20 others, like his his squad or his platoon really, went to them and asked them, "Yo, what the hell? Like, why aren't you going back?" And they attacked outright. That's really where the conflict, it turned bad. It turned bad. So that's where it all started out. And now Modi has sanctioned Indian military to take whatever action that they have to in order to make sure that China gets backed away and all. And because of China, recently on the news that I saw that the Chinese their navy is in the South Pacific Ocean, like the Indian Pacific Ocean, the area, and so that combined with that with their mountain territory, like men going into mountain territory, their tanks, not tanks, I guess, like artillery, and other vehicles moving in, showing that Chinese military is coming into Indian territory. I think this is more of a political power play. It's not. I don't think it'll go out to all out war, but if it were to, there are things that I feel like India would win, but with China trying to take control of Pakistan, basically, I think you've heard last year that they did a joint economic barrier, not barrier, but a joint economic what do you call it? Um, I don't know the word for it. I guess they can combine joint economically. So with Pakistan, who is our neighbor to the north, and they're trying to turn Nepal against us, our neighbor to the northeast, honestly. So combine, if you look at all the news combined, you can see that China is trying to, I would say, invade. Well, it is actually invasion, but it's more of a power play, honestly. They're trying to, say, hey, we're still the big dogs. We still have power here. I think that's really the biggest issue, honestly. And then I think y'all heard India has banned 59 Chinese apps, including TikTok. A lot of people who I know on TikTok are so upset. They're like, no, but for Bharat, we do anything right. So
it's definitely an interesting approach about what's going on, especially with COVID-19 going on. I think the both political powers are like thinking differently, and one of the things that I wanted to like say was, I think India and China, like the issue, whatever issues going on between them, right?
mm-hmm.
I think India wants to, have like a mutual benefit not on the economic aspect, but from the political power aspect, where both political parties, have equal power. So in my opinion, all these TikTok bans and all these like Chinese product bans and stuff like that is only going to go so far. It's not going to like completely take it down, because at the same time, India gets a lot of revenue from like Chinese products and like Chinese services. So at the same time, they want to make sure that they want to keep a good alliance, and that's why Narendra Modi, he actually like India's prime minister, he put out a statement saying like, we want peace and stuff like that. We should come up with something that's peaceful on both ends. So, in your opinion, what do you think should happen?
What do I think should happen?
Should happen, yeah.
Honestly, we have two choices. Either we go to war or we don't. I mean, war affects both sides, and that's not good for either country, honestly. But at the same time, with China, pulling its weight around, showing its muscle, I think we should respond. Honestly, we should respond in not enforce, well, with enforce, but with economic sanctions as well. Right now, because of COVID, every country around the world pretty much hates China. Honestly, like the U.S. president. I can't speak for Donald Trump, but I can say that some of the diplomats and all they're not looking to China. Honestly, they're like, nope, screw you, man. Plus, I heard recently on the news that the U.S. Sixth Fleet or the I think Sixth or Seventh Fleet has come into the Pacific Ocean, so that the area around China and Japan, honestly. So I think this is a show of force by the U.S. So we could. I don't want to say we're going to rely too much on the U.S. I would say because of how the president's mindset is. It's he changes day to day. It's very yeah. It's very chaotic. Honestly, is the way his mind works. So I don't think India can rely on U.S. for now. But I think what India can rely on is well, I would say that's India's ties with Russia, actually. Yeah, they're a communist nation, but at the same time, they're not big fans of China either because of how Chinese have been pushing the weight around, honestly. And plus, the India and Russia have gone way back. Honestly, we've had ties for past 100 years almost now. Now, Russia won't give us any troops, but what they can do is they can give us equipment. So we bought some 21 MiGs, 21 I think are 21 MiGs and 21 something else, 21 or 12 no 21 MiGs and 12 rifles whatever, from France. So like we have good ties with Australia at the moment. We not with 100% on US. Looks like Europe and like so UK, France, I think they support us right now. So I feel like if India were to rely on its partners, I think we can win without war. But at the same time, like if it comes to war, we need to be ready because right now we're facing we're facing a threat from Pakistan. We're facing a threat from China, and if Nepal turns against us, I don't know. Like we don't have a like our navy isn't as strong as the Chinese, honestly, and that's number one. Number two is like we just need to be ready, prepared. Honestly, geographically, we are perfect. Like we are set. Like I don't think we can lose, honestly, because of the mountains and all. What happens is basically since China's on top and India's literally on the bottom, right? We are on some plains, so we have I guess you can say that's a kind of airfield, basically. Very flat, very easy for the planes to take off, easy. But with the China, they have 6 or 7 airfields around the Himalayan mountains. So the airfields are kind of very jagged. It's very rough. And so like when they take off the atmosphere, it's hard. Like they need more fuel, more thrust, and it takes time. And they have way more air force than we do, obviously. But the thing is, most of their air power is in like Hong Kong, Beijing, I guess what else cities? I guess like more towards the east area, honestly. Western, They have 6 or 7. We have 27 airfields just there. 27, 6. We have air superiority if, again, if we take out those airfields first.
I obviously we were devastated through what happened, Gaurav. Both parties lost a number of people. I think a friend was reading to me. We lost 20 people. China lost 40 people. I still don't get why we're fighting over land, man. It's freaking 2020.
I less think it's land. I think the land is just an excuse, honestly. I think it's a political power. China's trying to throw its weight around, saying, "Look, we're still the big dogs." I mean, it's their fault that I mean, I wouldn't say their fault. I would say it's their government's fault that COVID has been released because they've been silencing scientists. They've been trying to shut down protests in Hong Kong. A lot of shit's been going on over there, honestly. And they're trying to really show, oh no, we're still strong, we're still powerful. Thus, the land is nothing more than, I think, an excuse. It gives a reason. It's like why did you not do why did you not submit your homework? Oh, my dog ate it. No one believes it, but because you have a dog, you could kind of say like, oh, my dog ate it.
Yeah, China and us are the two big dogs. Like no one can mess with us, and I don't think there's nothing to prove each other that hey we're more powerful than you. What I really hope this peace treaty that Modi's that one of you guys mentioned that really carries forward. There's no point, man. Why don't we just spend all this military budget into medical appliances and just carry forward, speed up the virus and just get back to our normal lives?
Right. Yeah. That I almost 100% agree. Almost 90% agree on that one. But now again, because of just how messed up the area is, the 2020 has been a shit year, right? So it's been kind of it's all over. China suffering, India suffering, the world suffering. Hell, uh, we don't know what's going on. So I think we do need air power and our military power, but I think what we need to do is have them on standby 24/7 instead of just doing naval, coastal reconnaissance and all. I think they should have them on standby and have them, go out and venture further into the sea, further into the air, start, looking to procure more material because right now, I mean, again, I want this peace treaty to occur because you we don't want to we don't want casualties, honestly, especially on the India side. I'm sorry, but I was born in India, so Jai Bharat. But at this point, China's refusing to listen. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll help you. We'll do peace. I mean, they agreed to ceasefire and desist and retreat. That was almost a month ago, and they haven't. They're increasing their ability. I mean, their staging areas and all over there. I right now it's minor, but who knows? Another 6 months, 8 months. I don't know what's going to happen. No one knows. So we'll have to see if India and China are going to full scale war. I'm going to join India. Actually, I'm in India side here. I was born there, man. So um, kind of have to protect my family there, honestly. So
No, I definitely feel you, man. I don't know much about politics. I don't know if war is an effective way to solve the situation because I always thought since it's a neighboring country where there was a bond, we can relate to them and we're just best buddies.
no one knows, honestly. And I think in the past we might have been maybe by past I mean ancient past during the era of the Silk Road, Chinese emperors all the time, right? I think back then maybe we had we had good ties with them because they brought they had gunpowder, they gave it to us. We made they made cannons and all. Again, they gave it to us. We used we traded a lot of goods to and from back then, way back and yonder days. Right now, though, it's politically and military, it's messed up. Technologically, we're advancing further than we ever have, but I think morally, we're all, we're all going backwards, honestly. Like you look at the tension here in the U.S., look at the tension in Hong Kong, look at the tension in India. Like, look, I mean, when the when Trump came to India, right, for Modi and all, he built a wall to show to cover his poor. I mean, that's like, that is not a good show. That is not a good, sign. I've read Indian histories, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita. I've read all of them, and then I've learned a little bit, at least not a lot, but at least a little bit, like how to be a good person, really. Like, and I think y'all have heard of Indian Maharaja Chhatrapati Shivaji, right?
I've not. Do you mind talking about him?
Yeah, I haven't heard about him either.
Chhatrapati Shivaji basically was the one of if not the greatest king. He was the king of the people, honestly. Like, so he was, yeah, he was born a little bit not wealthy, I would say, but he was born into, I guess, it's like a middle class, like us. But the thing is, his father served as a military commander for one of the Mughals, honestly, emperors, honestly, back in the day. And he was like, he saw that, and he's like, why don't we? It's our land, it's our area. Why don't we control it? And he started building a small army. He won almost like so many battles, and he played smart. He didn't attack women. He never used, he never he treated women and he treated children and women fairly. He made you know he made friends with his enemies, honestly, once they surrendered. He was an open guy, but he also was very cautious. you know uh, he had weapons with him whenever he went to meetings for with enemy territories, or enemy kings. Honestly, he would be armed just in case something happened. And he helped the people when he was before he became king. Honestly, he became king for the people, not because he wanted it. He was already king way before he officially took the crown. Like, the guy was a legend. So, like, I think we've lost some of that, some of the moral high ground that we used to have. Look at some of the ancients, Chhatrapati Shivaji, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, Caesar. Some of these guys, and like, they fought alongside their men. Like, they didn't sit in a room like we're doing now, and oh, let's politically let's talk. They actually fought alongside their men. Yeah, they had politics and they had backstabbing and all that stuff, but, like, again, they fought alongside their men. Now, we're gonna get lucky if one of our leaders fights alongside their men.
So you're saying we need that type of leadership at this point?
Yes, very much, honestly. Like, it's technologically we're advancing, but does technology beat you know human nature, or even nature, honestly? Like, what we achieved all these technological feats of superiority and everything, but at the end, like, what have we done? Like, have the people prospered? Yeah, technologically we have more money, we have a good house, we're doing great things here in America. But in India, the poor are still poor. Even here in America, the poor are getting poorer while the rich are getting richer. The money has more value than bonds of friendship or bonds of trust and loyalty ever do now.
You know, you brought some interesting points, Gaurav. I wanted to actually talk about, or like go back to the one of the topics that we were explaining.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, I mean, this is just my opinion, I feel like the COVID-19 has a lot of play in saying, like, in what's going on, because the moment the virus broke out, there were a lot of racism against Chinese people. Um, every government was hating on Chinese, especially Donald Trump here, our president. Um, so one of the things I think that Chinese wanted to do is not necessarily like show the fact that they want a certain land. I think that was just a triggering point and they wanted to just show their political power. Like if like 10 people gang up on someone, obviously they're going to get aggressive at one point. So I think they're just trying to show that, hey, like, don't mess with us, you know, like what have we done, you know, stuff like that. And in a way, they're right in the sense like, hey, you know, you can't blame every Chinese person just because of, you know, an outbreak of the virus. It happened, and you can't do anything about it now. All you can do is, you know, stay at home, all these things that they're asking us to do, right? So we got to follow
Right.
orders. So I think more so it's just kind of like showing the political power, and then
Yeah, I think that no, like that's right. Honestly, I think
yeah,
this land is nothing. It's it's a mountain, a small mountain range that like Ladakh, that area, the Four Fingers. Yeah, people live there, but like, what what's its significance militarily? It's got maybe a little bit like some fresh water, a lake, I guess, like a body of water, like, but what is its military significance? It's an excuse, honestly. It just it's show that China is throwing its weight around, like, we've all heard about the Hong Kong protests, right? If Chinese government can't even control one city, or like, let's say Taiwan. Let's bring Taiwan to this. I guess, I don't want to, but I mean, I guess we have to, because it's a small island nation the size of like Dallas. You know, Dallas is nothing compared to the U.S., obviously, right? But like, if China can't even take back one island, or like Hong Kong, even the protests in that one city, it's one city. Like, how weak must they actually be? Like, no, like that. It just shows like, yo, they're not as strong as they. Just because you put your chest out and say, "Oh, I'm just the big guy," doesn't mean anything if you can't show it, can't prove it. And I think this war, this border skirmish, is just that. It's to prove that they have power still. I think it's nothing more than that, honestly. That they have that it's to prove that they still have political and military power, and economic power, and they can throw their weight around. Economically, they do have power, but I think I have to blame not the Chinese people. They have no, you know, they can't predict this, obviously. But I think the government, they've been covering up cases, they've been covering up, any scientists who speak out, they're like, no, 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 don't speak out, don't speak out. Been trying to take scientists out, because of what they're saying and all. And I think we should follow the science. Don't blame this. Here's some right wingers in U.S. Like, they're like, oh, it's coronavirus is a hoax, it's a conspiracy. I'm just like, no, get in line. Like, wear a mask, stay inside the house, 6 feet distance, stay safe. Don't, it's kind of like that's kind of how it is in China, honestly. Politics politics means more to them than their own people do at this point. And I think if India were to if India and China were to sign an agreement on ceasefire, great. But I would like, being from India and being Indian, I would not 100% trust that ceasefire would mean something. I would say it would buy time for us to prepare. I think that's the biggest. Yeah, I think that's the biggest significance of it. Honestly, it would give them time to get their power, get their shit together and bring their full military to bear on Indian might, or Indian soil. But at the same time, it also give us time to prepare, and we could start buying more aircraft and more equipment and all. And and Indians, we we fight each other a lot on stupid things, caste, this, that, caste, kulam, matam, all that stuff, right? But when India is threatened, oh boy, there, that shit goes away. It's like, get in line, the military is waiting for you guys. So that's it. That's one good thing in the sense, like, we fight, we have infighting and all, but at the same time, when Indian soil is threatened, shit, no, that stuff doesn't matter, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many underlying circumstances that I don't think people have touched upon. What is the message you're trying to portray to the audience? Like, we've done this podcast so far, right? So what are you trying to tell the audience? Like, is there one last thing you want to, you know, finally say to the audience?
I I think I think it's two in one, honestly. Uh, Number one, don't spread misinformation. Like find and find your sources. Like figure out what sources are facts and what are not. What are conspiracy theories. And number two is uh, this. I guess this is an Indian podcast channel, honestly. So I'd say like, do your best to support India. I mean, right now our nation, our country, our motherland needs us, honestly. So like, uh, ban or uninstall some of the apps that we have tonight. The apps that we have, TikTok and all. Yeah, it might be rough because y'all love TikTok or whatever. I used to have it. I uninstalled it the moment that I heard about the ban, and so I just did that. And I'm just saying, like, support your bloodline because that's where if y'all weren't born there, at least your parents were born there. So I'd say that y'all have family there. So I would say support India in its in this war, and and don't spread misinformation. Like make sure you know where where you're getting your facts, honestly. So like there's a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people on all over the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, who are like, oh, do this is happening, oh, do this is happening. It's like, yeah, but where are you getting the information from?
Makes sense. Yeah, honestly, that was our last question. We wanted to kind of get to know, like, you know, like first of all, this wasn't to have like a full-on discussion and then talk about like, oh, the political power should have done this and this. That's not our intention. Our intention is to get a discussion going. um and not everybody knows about this issue, or like, I'm sure they heard about it, they just don't know like the full facts. And I think after this podcast, people are gonna like probably even reach out to you, because you are able to, you know at least for me, I was able to like understand properly. And now I'm actually more interested in looking into like the deeper resources and seeing like what's going on. And I'm gonna try to follow the news. So, Sai, do you want to add anything last minute? We got like less than a minute here.
Yeah, definitely. Gaurav, thank you so much again. This was a heavy topic for all of us, and thank you for shining light on us. This is why we do these things to spread the news, make us more informative. And I really hope things get situated soon. We should all be, together in the end. All countries, all people, we're all equally one. Deep condolences to all the people who have lost, but definitely we'll be in the loop for all
For
of us.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do I don't do analysis on a lot of things, but on these sort of things where it's a border conflict or whatever, the India go. I mean, not India, America going into Afghanistan. India China border conflict. I do a lot of analysis on this, and the reason I guess I'm so skilled and I understand what's going on is really I play a lot of chess. If you understand how to play chess, you understand war. It's really that. And so I loved playing since I was a young boy, and now that I have that mindset, I can apply that mindset now to like different topics. Oh, how does this affect this? How does this affect that?
Right. So thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I'm sure we could do a part two, maybe not on this issue, something else, because I think you're great at that. So I appreciate you coming on our podcast. And guys, next week we'll start on another podcast. So hope to entertain you. Signing off, Vishal and Sai.